All it takes is an adventuresome spirit. Hey, you know what this is?
No.
This is regular old dish soap. And the ordinary becomes extraordinary. Look at that. Let me share a secret recipe. Discover an ingredient that fires your imagination. Choose other flavors to match. Find the best way to cook them. My secret recipe? Cooking without a recipe. If I've learned anything as a chef, it's that the best food is always the simplest food. And if I've learned anything as a dad, it's that I don't need a kitchen full of expensive ingredients and sous chefs to make an extraordinary dinner. I'm in the mood for simplicity. So what could be simpler than pasta and tomatoes? Ordinary ingredients until you mix in your own creativity and make them extraordinary. Now, just about every flavor in here has shown up in a tomato sauce once or twice. Olives, clams, even mustard. Anything in here is fair game when I'm flavoring a tomato sauce. But more often than not, I begin with bacon. Some flavors just go together naturally. Here's almost everything I need to make a great, simple tomato sauce. Really, the only thing missing is some heat. What really makes a tomato sauce sing is how you treat the ingredients. That looks like some flavor. Of course, the best way to add flavor to bacon is to brown it, and the best way to brown bacon is actually to add a little bit of water. Not too much. Just a touch of water in the pan helps even out the heat and helps the bacon brown better. Now, onion is the kind of ingredient that always gets taken for granted, but the easiest way to elevate its status is to simply cut it into tiny little pieces that evenly distribute flavor throughout the sauce. Cut it in one direction, and then cut in the other direction, just like that. Look at all that flavor. But the bacon's not fully brown yet, so I'll just let that go for a few minutes more while I get some garlic ready. So how much garlic should you add to a tomato sauce? Well, it's really up to you. If you like garlic, add a lot. If you don't like garlic, don't add any. But whatever you do, don't worry about the recipe. It's your call, which for me means the whole head. Now, bacon fat tastes pretty dandy, but that might be just a little bit too much flavor in that pan right now. I always like to pour off as much bacon fat as I can before I add onions and garlic. That's a little better. There's plenty of fat left in there to brown these onions off a bit before I add the garlic. I always like to add the garlic last because garlic burns a lot faster than onions will. Okay, garlic, your turn. Now at this point you have some options. You could add some wine to this. You could add some tomato paste and really bulk up the tomato flavor, or you could just add the tomatoes. Now that's starting to look like a sauce, but it's still missing a few key ingredients. Some salt, some pepper of course, and aromatic herb flavor. Pick your favorite one. I've got thyme, basil, cilantro, and rosemary. Bacon's a fairly strong flavor, and so is rosemary. The two will complement each other nicely. And of course, when it comes to adding herb flavor, the key is to add a lot of herb flavor. Don't be tentative about it. Just go for it. Don't worry. It'll taste great. And that's how you make your own homemade personalized pasta sauce and turn the ordinary into the extraordinary, which I can do with dessert too, but not with this extraordinary mess. Now, if your kitchen's anything like mine, you probably don't make desserts every day. I mean, I don't have a pastry chef working for me here, so I tend to look for simple, easy desserts that only make it look like I have a pastry chef working for me here. With some frozen berries and just 2 other simple ingredients, you can make some pudding. All you need is orange juice, or any juice for that matter. Orange juice, apple juice, berry juice, whatever you have. And my secret ingredient, cornstarch. This is 1 pound of assorted frozen berries, and then 2 simple cups of juice. Here's 1 and 2. And then I'll simply bring all of this up to the simmer and then add the cornstarch. But you know what? That already looks extraordinary. A sense of adventure can turn an ordinary day into an extraordinary day in your backyard and in your cooking. Try taking a fresh look at some old familiar friends, and hey, you just might impress yourself in your own kitchen. I'm whipping up a super simple pasta sauce with just bacon, onions, garlic, tomatoes, and rosemary. And speaking of ordinary extraordinary, some frozen berries are heading to pudding land with orange juice and cornstarch. These berries have been simmering for just a few minutes, just long enough for them to soften up in the orange juice. But before I can add the cornstarch, I do need to strain out all the seeds. And of course, to get those little baby pips out, I'm going to need the finest mesh strainer that I have. And now I'll simply dump this right back into the pot, but not all of it. I'm going to save a little bit behind, and I'll use this to dissolve the cornstarch. Because if I added the cornstarch directly to the hot liquid, it would clump up and I'd get lumps, and I definitely don't want those. There's 2, 3, and 4. More than enough to thicken up the juice from a pound of berries. So I'll just stir this together. Now this is called a slurry, and it's worth taking a second to get this nice and smooth. And as soon as it's nice and smooth, I'll stir it right back in with the rest of the juice. So at this point, I'll simmer for a few more minutes until I can see that the berry juice has really thickened up. It's not quite there yet, but it'll happen fairly quickly. You'll know when it does. You'll be able to see it. You'll be able to feel it with your spoon. It'll get nice and thick, just like this. So the next step is to simply cool this down. Of course, I'll jazz it up a little bit with a special glass. And once these cool down and set into nice firm puddings, no one will ever guess that you used only 3 simple ingredients: berries, orange juice, and cornstarch. Now, speaking of ordinary extraordinary, let me introduce you to an old friend of mine, my house salad bowl. To fill this up, everything but the kitchen sink is fair game, but a great salad always has 3 simple parts. The greens, of course, a dressing, and a garnish or 2. A simple head of romaine lettuce. Just tear it, drop her in. Now, what about a dressing? Well, doesn't look like my house dressing's gonna make the cut today. But I do have a full jar of salsa. Now I know that's a little bit different, but this would make a great dressing, and it's easy to make too. For a zippy salsa that's deliciously dippable and full of bright bite, begin with meaty plum tomatoes. Slice them in half and toss with a chopped onion or two, a handful of garlic cloves, and a few generous splashes of olive oil. But don't stop there. Intensify and deepen the tomatoes' flavor by roasting the works in a 350-degree oven for an hour or so. Simply toss everything into your food processor along with a jalapeno pepper, the juice and zest of 2 limes, a handful or 2 of cilantro leaves, and of course, a sprinkle of salt. Pulse until combined, and get your chips ready. This romaine just jumped on Salsa Airlines and headed for the sunny Southwest, and it looks like there's room for some more passengers. Let's see here. Definitely some cilantro, and some yellow cheddar, and some green onions, and some avocados, and a tomato. So I could use something crisp here. Some flour tortillas. Then I just sort of roll them up, cut them into thin slices, and then it's as simple as spreading them out on any baking tray. So when they get golden brown and crisp, hey, they're ready for the salad. Now, what about all this other stuff? Well, I think I'll just dice this tomato up. This tomato will add lots of bright red color to the salad, just like that. Now here's an easy way to get the pit out of an avocado. Simply take your knife, cut right in. You'll feel the pit. You'll know when you're there. I'm actually cutting all the way around that pit. Then twist. Out it comes. Nice quick hit here. Don't be hesitant. Turn and out it comes. And then, just like that. Okay. Then, with a big spoon, just sort of slip right down inside that skin, and the whole avocado pops right out. Works every time. Now for the rest of these bright flavors, I think I'll just grate some of this cheddar right on in. And of course, you could use just about any cheese you have in a salad. That looks like enough. Now, some sharp green onion. Actually, you know what? There's plenty of green in that salad. Maybe I'll use a red onion instead. And of course, for this to truly be a Southwestern style salad, it needs cilantro. And now for the tortillas, which really don't take very long to crisp up in the oven. Now that's a good looking salad. Hey, with ideas like these, you'll be well on your way to an extraordinary supper with ordinary ingredients. With just a little bit of imagination, the ordinary can become extraordinary. Any day of the week, anywhere. So just like I do every day, I'm cooking with simple ingredients, which is a great opportunity to let the ordinary inspire the extraordinary. Like a simple pasta sauce with bacon, onions, garlic, tomatoes, and rosemary. Or a simple dessert from frozen berries, orange juice, and cornstarch, and a house salad with a Southwestern twist. Now, I just need to make an extraordinarily straightforward vegetable dish. Which is actually pretty easy to do with frozen Brussels sprouts, because the only thing you need to turn these into a great green vegetable side dish is some olive oil, salt, pepper, and an onion. I really wasn't a big fan of Brussels sprouts when I was a kid. And as a prep cook, I really didn't enjoy peeling whole bushel baskets of them either. But as a home cook, I loved their earthy flavor and their frozen green convenience. Just dice up an onion, add a little bit of salt, pepper, and a generous splash of olive oil. Look at that. Vegetables from the freezer, tomatoes from a can, pasta from a box. Sometimes extraordinary flavors can be found in ordinary places. You just have to know where to look. I'm the world's biggest fan of fruits and vegetables, but when you're shopping, there's more than one place to find them. Don't forget the frozen food aisle. When you're in the produce business, one of your biggest single challenges is simply getting everything to market. It can be a long, tortuous road trip between the field and your plate. That's where freezing comes in. Frozen fruits and vegetables are processed very close to their source. That allows them to be picked perfectly ripe and, with modern freezing, for all of Mother Nature's goodness to be locked in tight. Of course, for many cooks, the best part about frozen fruits and veggies is convenience. It's a whole lot easier to let some big machine somewhere else shuck your peas for you than to sit down to a bushel basket before dinner. If this is what it takes to get the good stuff on the table, I'm all for it. Look at those beautiful colors, bright green, bright red in the sauce. Actually, some red would look good with those Brussels sprouts too. Dried tomatoes. These actually aren't dried in the sun. Sun-dried tomatoes are actually dried in kilns or ovens, but really that doesn't matter. What matters is drying concentrates their flavor. Look at that, red and green. Just a little bit of color, that dish is ready to go. But this tomato sauce needs a little color now too. Some white pasta. Tonight, I feel like something different. Perhaps something twirly, or something long and skinny, or even a bow tie or two. But you know, when it comes to the flavor of pasta, what really matters is not the shape, it's the salt. And lots of water too. But it's the salt in the water that makes ordinary pasta taste extraordinary. So how do you know when you've added enough? Well, first start by adding a ton like that, and then taste it. Really, taste it. It's gotta taste like a day at the beach. That's not enough. It takes a lot. This really is important because the pasta will absorb the salted water as it cooks, and then it'll be properly seasoned. There's a certain flavor to pasta that many of us miss completely if we don't salt the water enough. Try it. You'll be amazed at the results. That's going to do just fine. You know, in cooking and life, simple really is best, which is why it's so easy to transform everyday ingredients like raspberry jelly and cream into memorable flavors. These berry puddings are going to look great under some berry cream. I've got the fruitiest jelly I can find, and I'm going to mix, roughly 2 parts cream and 1 part jelly together. And then just whip away. Put enough raspberry jelly into this cream and you won't even need those puddings. Now that's what I call a dessert. Simple ingredients, simple to make, and quite simply, lots of leftovers for the cook. But unfortunately, I don't think there's going to be too many sunny Southwestern flavors left over today. This salad is looking good. It's time to toss all these flavors together. Salsa, romaine, avocado, tomato, crunchy chips. Now, is that pasta ready yet? Now, no matter what you do, don't rinse your pasta. Because when you rinse pasta, You rinse off all the surface starch that's clinging to the outside of each little piece. And that surface starch sticks to the sauce, and you don't end up with a lot of sauce on the bottom of your bowl. It stays on the pasta where it belongs. The only thing left to do here is to grab a fork or a big spoon so I can put the pasta in a bowl and then grab a big fork. Look at that. Let's see how that sauce turned out. Ah, bellissimo. You know, if I've learned anything about the kitchen, any kitchen, it's that opportunity awaits. Look in your fridge, check out your shelves, because it only takes a little bit of imagination to fill your family's table with flavor and turn the ordinary into extraordinary. Here we go.
Yay.
Can you give me some of those on my pasta? Those are called Brussels sprouts. You like it? Is it good?
I'm being the first one done.
You are? Would you like some salad? Guess what I use for a dressing?
What?
Salsa.
Delicious.
I can get it faster than you. On your mark, get set, go! All right.
This is extraordinary.
So are you.
Thank you.